Well, hello and welcome. Glad that we have the technology to be coming at you from a different perspective, from a screen today. It's a little different, but we're just going to get used to it and we're going to jump right in. So I have a kind of teaching Sunday morning Connect group lesson, and it's going to go, towards our teenagers that would normally be a part of that group. And I just want to kind of jump in here and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of pray us in. So Lord, I just thank you for this time. I just thank you for the things that you're speaking to us. I just pray that we can listen and understand and just kind of still our minds and our hearts and just know that you're always speaking to us, Lord. So just bring what you have for today. Amen. All right, so we're just going to jump in here. If you're wondering what we're talking about, we're going to be talking about coronavirus and basically what's going on right now, because everybody's talking about it. But I just really want to just kind of jump in because I've got a lot of different ways. I just want you to kind of understand like what I'm thinking about it, some practical things that you can take away from it, and just kind of what that looks like. So the first thing to bring up is the concept of fear. Okay, and we've been talking about fear a lot. I'm absolutely positive that you have seen plenty of posts about do not fear. Just a lot of talk. I mean, that phrase has been thrown around a ton. And if that's the first time you've heard it this week, then you're definitely living under a rock. So I just kind of want to unpack that a little bit, what that phrase looks like, what it means. So what I have in mind here is kind of this illustration where when everything is going well in the Christian life, we are just like walking along and we're like, man, everything's going good. There's some temptation. Nope, not going to go that way. Oh, there's a little bit of fear. Nope, I'm on this path, straight and narrow. Nothing can touch me. And that would be great, right? And I hope that we all have that faith in some times of our life. But I mean, the reality is that fear is real, and it can really shake us up sometimes. This can maybe be like the death of a loved one in our life, or your parents going through a divorce. But life is real, and sometimes these feelings of anxiety and fear are really real to us. And I think that's really the reason why the Bible addresses fear so much. So you might have heard this quote. It says that do not fear is mentioned in the Bible 365 times. And so obviously as I'm kind of prepping, getting ready for this, I come across this, image or meme or whatever you want to call it. And I'm like, oh, that's great. I should use that and kind of put that in here. But I wanted to make sure that it's actually true before I just kind of put it out there. So I did a little bit of digging, a little bit of searching, and I found that it's actually mentioned less than 365 times, but we do find other things that are mentioned in the Bible that add up way more than 365 times. So in addition to the words do not fear or fear not in the Bible, we also have do not be afraid, don't be anxious about anything, do not worry, and do not be dismayed. So the main point is, even though maybe do not fear doesn't happen exactly 365 times in the Bible, the reality is we're going to experience things that shake us in this life. And Jesus speaks to that in John 16:33 when he says, I have said these things to you that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, some versions say trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. So this really shows we're not meant to be ruled by fear, but it is something that we will experience. And there is a solution to that problem, which is found in the person of Jesus. So kind of the question now is, what are we supposed to do with that? What are we supposed to do? We know that we're not supposed to be anxious or afraid, but what can we actually do? And I just kind of want to address what I would call a trap of society is really, especially in this situation, is you have to be all in one way or all in another way. And right now in this kind of present, coronavirus situation, it looks like you have to either be all in on this is the end of the world and we need to live in bunkers, it's all going downhill, or you have to decide on this end that it's not that big of a deal, nothing bad is going to happen, don't worry about a thing. And I just kind of want to encourage and challenge you that you don't really have to choose a side. And my actual challenge to you is be all in for Jesus, right? Because he's going to find actually a way that is somewhere in the middle between those things. That's not a fear-based mentality. It's not a ignoring like real life facts kind of path either. And I actually think that teenagers do a great job of wanting to be authentic to themselves. I think that probably better than any group of people or like age, they really want to stick to their guns and they really want to be authentic to themselves. So I think we're really made for this. But my challenge is make Jesus your all in, and he really can like show you which way and how to navigate that. So with that being said, we're not living in fear, but there is a concern for those who are older or elderly or have bad immune systems. And it really is our responsibility to do a good job making sure this doesn't spread. But I can also do that without feeding into mass hysteria. And we have a responsibility to do the best we can to look out for our brothers and sisters and make smart decisions. And a lot of times that just looks like common sense. So that kind of leads me into the next point, which is what can we be doing about it? Number one is pray. And prayer is easy, it's simple, it's the simplest thing you can be doing in general. It's just talking to God. Let him know what's going on. If you're fearful, talk to God about it. Let this time bring you closer to God instead of kind of distancing yourself away. Number two would be follow authority. We see this in Romans 13. We're called to, follow the authority of our government, but also I'd extend this. Listen to your parents, right? Like, do what they're telling you. They're only making those decisions because they love you and they really want what's best for you. You could also tune in online, and you already are, and that's great, awesome. We are going to have more stuff rolling out as the week progresses, and we're just going to be able to unpack a little bit more of the things that we talked about this weekend. And the last thing is a challenge. Really, I would challenge you to use this time wisely. I think that we have all kind of sat back and said, man, I wish I had more free time. Well, you probably do right now. If school's been canceled and sports have been canceled, you probably have a lot more free time than you've ever had. It kind of might feel like summer, obviously without some things are different. Did you ever say that you wish you had more time to read the Bible or listen to that sermon online or listen to that podcast? I'm just challenging you, now's the time. It really is. You could also call a friend or your grandparents and just encourage them. I just recently last week had a conversation with one of my best friends, and we just talked and we're like, man, we have time to do this because we're freed up just a little bit from everything that's going on. So really the final thoughts I have here are we're still the church and we're going to keep moving forward. So don't be discouraged, as we saw that Jesus says that in John. But use this time for the best. I want to challenge you to encourage others, press into the Word, and just be in prayer for what God is doing and what He wants to show you in this time. Thanks for tuning in.